The end of the 1990s, I'd hit a wall. I was managing director of a small media company. My job was making me ill, and I was diagnosed with depression. So it was time for a change. I quit my job, tapped into a sense of who I was, and carved out a new, independent work life. And I wrote a book about it. The joy of carving out my own work life is the freedom to do things my way. And a good example of that is getting people away from their desks and out for a walk. So when I designed a coaching program, I decided to do it out in the streets around Soho and Fitzrovia. And what I found is that fluid movement in the body triggers fluid movement in the brain and gets all the ideas flowing. And magic always happens when you get people out for a walk. I love getting people together. One standout memory is when I ran an away day at a country hotel in Kent. And we ended the day in a Jacobean library around the fire. I asked everyone present to tell a personal story of how they got to here. And it was quite a moment. The stories that tumbled out, the honesty and openness. When we share our personal stories, it creates an emotional connection that's always powerful. In June 2015, I was invited to speak at the Do Lectures to tell my real story for the first time. Standing on stage in that old barn in Wales, nervous as hell, I opened up and I learned that when you are yourself, when you let another human being see the real you, that is when true transformation happens, and that being vulnerable is not a weakness, it's just being human. About 7 years ago, I had a really crappy financial year. Walking back from my accountant's office at the top of my road, I was really down about it. When I got home, my wife said to me, "What's the matter?" And when I told her, she said, "But you told me that last year was one of the happiest years of your life." So I stopped measuring success by a spreadsheet and I started doing this thing where I write a list every week of all the positive experiences in my life, and I call it good times. And that is how I measure success. What I do is I bring energy, rocket fuel to organizations, teams, leaders, whoever I'm working with, to inspire, to bring clarity and to reset their work life. In 2015, I was offered a job based by Lake Geneva. After 15 years of working for myself, I was tempted by that idea of stability. But the very next month, I was giving a guest lecture at the University of East London. And sitting down for a beer and pizza afterwards, I thought, this is my path, standing on stage and energizing others, and not sitting at a desk, however beautiful the location. It was a clarion call to stay true to a work life that's me.